The following special is being produced by Renewable Now and is presented by the following: the Arpin Group, creating customers for life.
I'm Peter Arpin. We are finishing up here at the Convention Center. John and Scott, thank you. Wonderful job. John, I'll start with you. One of the questions we're asking, what did you learn today? How will you use it in your job going forward?
Well, I think that what we learned is that different parties, state officials, private sector, need to come together to make this vision a reality. It's not going to happen with any one entity on its own, but I think that came through loud and clear, as well as the connection between having a more robust transit system and a better economy.
Scott, you brought in 3 great models: Denver, Minneapolis, and right down the street, literally, Hartford. What's the one that stands out for you in terms of applicability to changes here in Rhode Island?
Well, I think Hartford probably stands out as the most applicable, although I think they all are applicable. But what Hartford has done is they have kind of done bus rapid transit on steroids. And I think that can be our next logical move, is to have a more aggressive bus rapid transit strategy. Maybe it's 610 connector, maybe it's not just 610, maybe it's some other places. But that seems to be a logical and feasible move for us.
John, good financial data. Hey, we invest $1, we get 4 back, we get 5 back. Is that true in Rhode Island? Can it be true?
Well, that's true nationally. It's a national figure. But I think to bring it back to a point that Scott was talking about, that all these ideas we're talking about today, they only work if people actually find it easy to get where they're going. If transit doesn't get you where you want to go when you need to get there, then you've lost all those discretionary riders because they're not going to use it.
And Scott, finishing up, I think that's what comes to mind for me. If I've got my little electric car and I can go somewhere short distance, I can jump on a link, a commuter rail into the city. I can either take a trolley or I can walk. It's sexy. Everything I heard about Denver is sexy. Hey, I come in from the airport. I don't have to rent a car. How does Rhode Island get there? We have a RIPTA bus system. Do we necessarily have to add the trolleys, the rails, maybe even the commuter ferry across the bay? What do you think are the components, after listening today, that will bring us to that, wow, I want to be part of that transit system?
Well, I think it's going to be a combination of things, but I think we can have buses still as the foundation, as the main engine of growth, but I think we have to look at light rail. I think we have to look at a better commuter rail system that has better scheduling, that's more convenient for Rhode Islanders. So I think it is a combination of things, and I think to some extent it's branding also. It's making people who don't normally take public transportation aware that this can be a convenient and pleasant experience. So I think there's work to be done on that as well.
Well, I think you make a great point as we finish up. Not just branding, but you think about the implementation of technology around it, right? So it's the old school improvements in the infrastructure, the technology, the knowledge, and the branding that make people want to be part of that system. Yes, it is. And as always, hold on.
I have one final thought, because we yesterday kicked off the climate change conference, and one thing that I think is lost on a lot of people is that in the Northeast, the transportation sector is not only the single largest, but it's the fastest growing contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Now, we're not going to necessarily change that just in Rhode Island, but that calls for a more national and global strategy.
Well, that is a wonderful analogy and point to make. And one of the things I come away with today is the thought about regionalization, and not just an ability to manage our infrastructure here, but to get people to New York and to Boston. I think somebody made a wonderful point that we could almost in New England think of ourselves as one state, right, solving these issues. You guys, as always, great dialogue, wonderful event. I'm Peter Arpin for Renewable Now, the show that brings you the business side of green.